Quite a stormy night for such a nice day, I should say.
Weather.
Day 2, morning. Not much happened this morning. Afternoon. After the few events that happened this morning, I was left alone in the hall to turn over the case in my mind, when my eye caught Colonel Mustard's coat hanging on the wall. Ignoring discretion, detectives must, I found in the pocket a watch with name Edmund McDonald engraved inside. By looking at this only, I knew that Colonel Mustard had an accomplice in this hideous crime. This was proved by the inquiry I put to Colonel Mustard while he was golfing. He denied his knowing the person, confirming the worst. But I knew better. I will tell all that I know about this Edmund McDonald, which is little, but enough to arrest him. I think, firstly, he is a watchmaker. Secondly, he is a murderer. Thirdly, he is probably Scottish. Again, I would like to say that no time can be wasted in the arrest of Colonel Mustard in case he commits another murder.
Good evening, Mrs. Peacock, Mr. Green, Colonel. I'd bet on rain tomorrow. What a storm. You know, I dug up a very important bit of evidence found in the study. Mrs. Peacock, you must have misheard when you said you heard 3 shots fired.
I heard 3.
That's funny, because I found in a very heavy dictionary not only a bullet hole, but the bullet itself.
You know, it was 4.
What kind of gun would you say fired that, Colonel?
I should say, 38 caliber revolver.
That is also what the police said about the bullet found in his lordship's back. Proving
Obviously that the crime was committed with one weapon and therefore by the same person.
precisely. And whoever it was deemed it necessary to shoot his lordship 4 times. Poor fellow, it's hard to face the facts. What could be the cause for such violence?
I dare say if the will were uncovered, the murder would turn up immediately.
Perhaps. But no will was found. Besides, his lordship never had any family that he spoke of.
Do you know any watchmakers, Colonel Mustard?
Watchmakers, why not?
I thought not.
Ladies and gentlemen, dinner is served.
Well,
Sir?
I am on my way to the post office, and you're in my path. Please let me pass.
I'm sorry, sir. If you still love your reports, you must either give them to me or let me escort you to the post office.
This is outrageous! You don't know what I'm mailing. You take me to the post office? Preposterous!
I'm sorry, sir. I have my orders. No one is allowed to leave the grounds except the private detective.
Would it interest you to know that I am the private detective?
Oh, Mr. Green, I'm sorry, sir. You may go on your way.
You've been ordered to watch the house.
Yes, sir. There's no less than 25 of us stationed around the estate.
Do you expect another murder?
No, as far as I know, we're waiting for someone to make a run for it.
Has anybody run for it?
No. Would you like me to bring those to the post office for you?
No, thank you. I'll deliver them myself. This is why I want to see the study in which the murder occurred.
Oh, hello, Mr. Green. Is anything wrong?
Nothing. What are you doing here?
Oh, just trying to find a bit of evidence. You know, one would never guess such a murderous act was committed in such a peaceful room, aside from those blood stains on the floor.
No.
Did you examine the body?
Why, no, I did not. Did you?
No, and I'm not entirely sure that the professor did either.
Then how do you know the body is actually dead?
The same exact thought just passed my mind. Of course, the police pronounced him dead, and the hospital said the same thing. They have a death certificate, and Professor Plum says he's seen the old chap's gravestone. Still, I do wish I'd had a look at the fellow. might be that much closer to finding the murderer.
Maybe.
Hello, Mr. Green. Oh, good afternoon, Colonel. What are you doing here?
Just trying to dig up a clue.
Aren't we all? I received a telegram from the police concerning the confidential case file in the time of its arrival.
When will it be delivered?
That's just it. The police officials have decided that the date will remain unknown to us.
And why is that?
Because you must remember, the murderer may be among us here, and it might help him to continue his crime.
I see.
Also, the information that the case file contains can be proved. The evidence should be sound enough to take the culprit to court. However, as I said when introducing the case, your reports will solve this mystery, and I urge you to take great care in writing them. And now, what was I doing? Oh yes, I was writing a note to the gardener about that shrub that keeps showing in the flower garden. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Excuse me, Mr. Green.
You know, I think it was a good decision to keep the cook. Naturally, a few of the servants were dismissed at the time of his lordship's death, but he had splendid dinners like these every night, and seldom without company, too.
One might really use company in this house.
Yes, but I think Lord Chessington rather liked peace and quiet. He never married, and I think he was quite content with the bachelor life.
You were saying about the servants being dismissed.
Ah, yes, you see, in a way I've been managing the estate since his lordship's death. And of course there are a few servants who are no longer necessary. But all the staff who were with the house at the time of the murder were kept for purposes serving the investigation, excepting the cook, whose further presence I requested.
And who were the staff present at the time?
Well, of course there was Miss White, and the cook's boy, who claims that he was lighting the stove awaiting his master's arrival. And then there was the gardener, but he was actually in the greenhouse.
Have you put any inquiries to the staff, Mr. Green?
No, I think it's unnecessary. That's weather we've been having.
Yes, I should say so, apart from last night's storm.
Shoot.
No, thank you. This morning, I gained intelligence as to your watching the house. I learned a few particulars from one of the watchmen, and I must ask you send me an information recorded during the observances, especially as to actions of Colonel Mustard, whom I have already proved to be the murderer. And I shall relate a strange incident that occurred this afternoon. I went to the study to see if I could find some further evidence. To my surprise, I found the colonel there looking over some papers. He pretended not to be shocked at my entrance. My theory is that the colonel thought he could find his lordship's bank account number. No doubt the reason he murdered him. And I await the case file. Dennis Green.